Is Solana a Bitcoin L2? Is there even things useful on Solana that we as Bitcoiners can use? Well, a good chunk of the community and some builders are making the case that that is exactly true. And I think I tend to agree. It's a good execution layer. It has native stable coins from the big players and a few other things that we'll talk about. But first, what is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Built on Bitcoin podcast. I am your humble host, Jacob Brown. And you know what we do here? I'm talking to all the best Bitcoin founders I can find, kind of giving you the alpha of all the cool shit coming to Bitcoin across the entire ecosystem. I take a very broad definition of what that means. And today, I have the co-founders of Atomiq on the show. Sylvie and Adam are building an atomic swap protocol that you go from Bitcoin in both of its flavors, L1 and Lightning, into Solana assets. So currently that's Sol and USDC. And they're going to be supporting more assets and more chains like EVM very soon. But what's interesting here is the way they've constructed this protocol. It has very few trust assumptions, not nearly as many as you have in a typical bridge. And because they're atomic, the trade either goes through and you get your assets, or you can get a refund and get your assets back. So there's not much risk here. So that's what we talked about in this episode. We talk about what they're building and how they built it. We talk about the differences between atomic swaps and bridges, as people commonly hear about them. The benefits of being able to swap into different assets from Bitcoin into any of these other chains. What they're cooking kind of on a near-term roadmap of not just for the service, but their SDK and being able to effortlessly put this tech into wallets, which is fantastic, and a bunch of other stuff. So this one was a great episode. I think you're going to enjoy this one. So without further ado, let me take a step back and bring on this fantastic episode with Sylvie and Adam, the co-founders of Atomiq.
Welcome to Built on Bitcoin.
Sylvie, Adam, how are you guys today?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Yeah, good, all good.
How about you?
I am fantastic. Yeah, lots going on in Bitcoin, exciting time. And as always, love talking to founders building cool stuff. So that's what we're here to do today. And yeah, I think, I like to typically start with a broad question about how people got into Bitcoin. Everyone comes here for different reasons, which has been so fascinating to me. Freedom tech or purchasing power or F the government, whatever it is. So curious for both of you guys. Maybe we can start with you, Sylvie. What was the thing that drew you into the crypto space in Bitcoin?
That was 2018. I worked in Southern California for a fintech company there. And apparently all of my colleagues in the engineering department went completely crazy. They all bought Bitcoin. They all told me I need to buy it. They even asked our CEO if he can pay them in Bitcoin, which he unfortunately didn't do back then. But that was basically how I got into Bitcoin, because then I looked at the white paper, as German as I am, of course. I wanted to know what I'm getting myself into. And yeah, I read through it. I thought it's super interesting. I come from a banking and fintech background, so very traditional. And I was just like, wow, this is a super intriguing concept. Bought Bitcoin back then. Didn't really touch it again until I met Adam in October 21. And yeah, then Adam basically dragged me over to the dark side, Bitcoin and crypto, and here I am, 2 years later, still going strong.
Love it.
That's basically my Bitcoin story.
Awesome. And what about you, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was kind of a roller coaster to get to Bitcoin eventually. I mean, I started in 2017, back in that bull run when like the Ethereum went crazy and you had all those ICOs and shitcoins popping all over the place. And back then I started mining. I started mining Ethereum, mined a little of that, but then eventually, of course, I didn't sell at the top, so I didn't hodl it all the way down, and then eventually years later turn it into Bitcoin, of course. But yeah, I mean, I was a lot into these shitcoins back then, until I eventually figured out that okay, yeah, maybe this is not something that makes sense. Maybe it's much easier and much more how to say it, secure to just hodl Bitcoin and don't have to care about which coin you buy and when you need to sell it and all these things. And eventually, yeah, I kind of gravitated towards being kind of Bitcoin maxi, even though that word has like a big bad connotation currently. But yeah, so that's why I call myself currently a Bitcoin harmonic averagist. So
that is that's probably the most poetic way I've heard someone describe themselves as a Bitcoiner. A Bitcoin what? Bitcoin harmonic what?
Yeah, harmonic averages. You have a different type of averages, and like harmonic averages is one of the types. So I settled for that one.
I love it. I'm gonna help you meme this into reality to make it a thing that we start using in the common narrative. No, that's awesome. Okay, so quick to level set. Sylvie, you said you have a fintech background, so you were kind of in the Web2 traditional space, and
Yes.
then Adam, what was your background that way? Like, are you more entrepreneurial? What were you doing?
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, I forgot to mention it, but yes. So I was doing full stack programming before. So I was a programmer. I'm still a programmer. So yeah, at first I just saw it as like number go up, just gonna get rich quick. And then like I was studying also more and more the technology behind it, and that was what like was fascinating me a lot about Bitcoin and especially about Lightning. I guess Lightning really got me into believing that okay, like Bitcoin could really be used as a payment layer for the internet.
Yep, makes sense. Okay, and then starting to go into the startup journey. You said that Adam brought you to the dark side in October of 2021. So I'm assuming this was not Atomiq that you guys started back then. This is something else. So what were you guys building?
No, back then we had multiple iterations. I think the very first thing we started to build was actually a Lightning point of sale system.
Oh no! You need to speak about what we did before that. Why we met in the first place, huh?
Fair. So how did Adam and I meet in the first place? We met at an accelerator program, which was focused on co-founder matching in Berlin. And yeah, back then I had a very genius idea to turn or to build like a Tinder for fashion. And back then I always thought, okay, Adam is probably not interested in that idea because he was like the crypto guy. And then at some point we started to talk, and then he told me, oh, Sylvie, that's basically a pile of cash lying in the corner. Like, women love to go shopping, and if there's like something that you can do it even more in an easier way online, that's even better. That's basically a money printing machine. And then Adam and I started working together, and we eventually came to the point, oh, maybe that's not the best idea that we're working on. But we realized that we're actually quite a good pair in terms of working together. And then we looked into our backgrounds and we're just like, okay, what else could we do? And then, Adam basically told me about Bitcoin Lightning. And yeah, I was fired. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I've also lived in the US before where like the credit card fees are even higher and stuff. And back then we were just like, okay, we're going to revolutionize the world in Berlin. We're going to offer Bitcoin Lightning payments in every single bar, in every single kiosk, everywhere. Unfortunately, we got a bit of a reality check. So it wasn't as easy. But we actually ended up offering our payments for quite a while at some local bars. They're not offering it anymore. But yeah, it was really cool, and it brought me for sure like deeper into the space. We then had like several iterations afterwards, and then we basically Adam built a system where companies based in Europe could pay in euros, and then we would pay out USDC. And while we were working on that, Adam needed to find a way to bridge between Polygon, where our service provider was built on, and Bitcoin. And yeah, there was Renbridge, but unfortunately Renbridge went down due to FTX. And yeah, then he needed to find another way, and he did not really find one. So he decided to invent it himself, and Atomiq was born.
Okay. So I want to jump into what Atomiq is, but before I want to double click on how you guys view Lightning quick, like as an overview real quick, because I see it in two camps right now. There's a lot of FUD about Lightning. Scaling issues, not going to work with high on-chain fees, a bunch of reasons, channel management. But when I double click on a lot of those people, they don't really use Lightning that much. They haven't really given it like a proper shot. It works pretty well in a lot of cases, and the payment failure rate's gone down in my experience. And then the other side is like there's all these problems have solutions. It's just an issue of time. We'll find the right solutions to these problems. So where are you guys currently at? Obviously you leverage Lightning heavily, but yeah, how do you guys feel right now about the current kind of narrative around Lightning?
Yeah, I mean, like some of those points like are fair actually. Like the criticism is in some cases, not all cases, warranted. But like the thing I see is that like look, like Lightning is the only L2 on Bitcoin that we currently have, and that is working to some extent. Or like, I mean, it works really well for me, right? Like I almost never had a problem using Phoenix on my phone, which is a Lightning wallet. Yeah, so like, okay, they have fair criticism, but like, okay, criticize, but then try to come up with something better, and then like I will take it seriously, because I mean, just bashing Lightning doesn't help anyone if you don't try to solve those problems. So yeah, I mean, if those problems have a solution, then go implement those solutions, or like propose those solutions for Lightning. And if they don't have a solution on Lightning, if you think like Lightning is like not gonna work, then just propose your own solution. But like a lot of those guys, actually, they don't have anything up their sleeve. They just say, this is shit, this doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, what can we do, right? I mean, it's the best we have now, so.
Yep, and this is Twitter, so like everyone's trying to get engagement, get clicks. It's easy to critique, it's hard to build. So expect them to come with solutions. That's a high bar. There's no chance, even though it's pragmatic.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's Twitter after all. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Then let's jump in. I want to start double clicking on Atomiq. So, yeah, give us a high level overview. What is Atomiq? What are you guys building?
Mm-hmm. So Atomiq is a cross-chain interoperability protocol. You could see it as an alternative to a bridge, for example, where you can swap between Bitcoin. Currently, we support on-chain and Lightning, and on the other end, Solana, Sol, and USDC. We are utilizing a Bitcoin relayer and atomic swaps. So therefore, our tech works fundamentally different from bridges. But I'll keep that over to Adam to explain it to you in a more detailed way.
Yeah, like I saw you had Killian from Bolts on the podcast recently. Did you? Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of similar to what Bolts is doing for Bitcoin and Liquid and Lightning, but we do it more cross-chain. So we do it also like on Solana, and we're planning to go also expand to Ethereum and other EVMs. So we use submarine swaps, the same as they do, which are kind of atomic swaps. So that means, the two parties can be sure that the trade either executes in full, so both parties get what they want, or the trade doesn't execute at all. But we are building also on top of that, since we are all operating on blockchains that have more programmability. So Bolt is just operating on Liquid, Bitcoin and Lightning, and now they also will do rootstock. Generally, they are operating on not Turing complete chains, right? And so we operate on these like smart chains or like Solana, like Ethereum, so we get more expressiveness in the smart contract, what we can write in a smart contract. And this allows us to basically create a smart contract which acts as a Bitcoin Lite client. So a Bitcoin Lite client is a client of Bitcoin blockchain, which instead of verifying full Bitcoin blocks, which could be up to 4 megabytes in size and contain like a lot of transactions, you check all the signatures, you instead just purely rely on miners behaving honestly. And you can, with a big certainty, be able to say, okay, like this is a valid blockchain, because miners put so much work into mining those blocks that like they would probably not like try to fool someone, because it's like not profitable for them, right? And so this allows us to verify Bitcoin blockchain trustlessly on a different chain. And we then use this primitive to create contracts that are similar to like Atomiq swap contracts as like summary swaps. But the big advantage of those is that you only need one on-chain transaction on Bitcoin. So for Atomiq swaps, for the regular ones, you generally need 2 transactions on both blockchains. But this is like pretty wasteful, especially on Bitcoin. To like, yeah, I mean, it's much better if you can just do 1 transaction instead of 2. And this like Bitcoin Lite client running on Solana or in Ethereum allows us to do just that, and then make these swaps that much efficient.
Okay, I'm gonna try and rehash some of this, make sure I get it correct. So jump in if I'm wrong on any of this. We mentioned atomic swaps. So for people that know, it's a kind of swap that has a pass fail. So either the swap will go as intended, or it will revert, and you won't lose any funds. A submarine swap is part is on chain, part is off chain. That's the definition of a submarine swap. Is that all correct so far?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, correct.
Okay, and then you mentioned one of the bigger providers that does something similar is Bolts, and they do one-for-one similar assets, so BTC and flavors of BTC, main chain, Lightning, Liquid, soon-to-be Rootstock, so not doing assets of different values, for example. And that's where you guys are different, and you have this term cross-chain interoperability protocol. Is that the word you used? Yeah, so... And currently you can go from Lightning BTC into Sol USDC, but there's no reason you can't do a wide variety of assets, because at the protocol layer, it's just another token that you could swap into. It just makes sense to do stablecoin into BTC. So far, all this is good?
Yeah, I mean, just one point is that we don't just do Lightning. And for Lightning, we just use subray swap, because there is no transaction on Bitcoin blockchain anyway. So that works fine. But where our approach of like using a Bitcoin Lite client shines is when you do Bitcoin on-chain to Solana swaps, and that's where we are able to offer like a much cheaper alternative to regular Atomiq swaps.
Got it. Okay, and then cool. So that's all good. I think that's a good overview. One thing that kind of it's weird to me when I first hear about it, I'm not sure how to reconcile it, is bridging and Atomiq swaps. Like, at face value, Atomiq swaps seem like a better way to do these kind of transactions. So is there limitations in Atomiq swaps? What can bridges do that Atomiq swaps can't? Like, help me like level set against these two things.
Yeah, I mean, so bridging in a sense of like how most of the DeFi landscape uses it is that you have a token on one chain, and then you create a wrapped version of that same token on the other chain. So like an easy example of that is, and then like is a custodial wrap BTC, WBTC on Ethereum, right? You send your Bitcoin to BitGo, and they mint some wrap BTC for you. There are like many different ways how you can do it, like in a more decentralized way, where you have like a federation of nodes that like guard the funds that are locked up in like a big multi-sig of them, and then they cooperatively mint like a wrapped version of Bitcoin on a different chain. So like bridging is like wrapping the token so you can use it on different chain, and then like more like a cross-chain swap is like what we do, where you directly swap from one token on one chain, so be it Bitcoin, to a different token on a different chain. So there is no wrapped version of this Bitcoin anywhere. like a big advantage of that is that if you have a wrapped Bitcoin, you need to trust the underlying bridge technology for the full time you are holding that wrapped BTC, because you're ultimately dependent on the fact that there is some real Bitcoin backing the wrapped BTC that you have in your wallet. And sure, you can just use it for trades, and that you don't need to care about that much, but still, like, you have some exposure. And with atomic swaps, you can basically just get rid of this wrapped token at all completely, and purely swap between Bitcoin and other assets. There is like a limitation of that you cannot use this wrapped Bitcoin asset as like collateral for like DeFi lending and those kind of things. But we also have an idea how we can solve that by basically leveraging DLCs, discrete lock contracts on top of Bitcoin, whereby you lock up your Bitcoin as a collateral, native Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain, and then you're able to basically borrow against it in USDC on a different blockchain. And this can all work thanks to our Light client again, which is able to verify that you correctly locked up this Bitcoin in a DLC contract.
Got it. And then, so yeah, it sounds like one of the benefits to bridging, or how do I word this? Like, when you look at USDC on Solana, you have an issuer of that token, which is Circle. They have direct support into Solana, and they issue it. A bridge kind of acts like that as well, which is like some kind of trust assumptions. And once you bridge in, they create the token, so it wasn't previously in existence, and you have this hopefully one-to-one back to whatever you're bridging in. So a bridge at some level can be a way to bring a token into existence that an atomic swap can only swap into a token that currently exists on the chain of choice. Do I have that right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good, a short version of what how it works. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Excellent. Then let's start dancing around how to use this then. So you have this interesting, trustless, non-custodial way to swap into different tokens. Who is the user for this thing? Like, who's the average person? Why would they use Atomiq? What are they doing with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly people that care a lot about not like holding their own keys, right? Not being too exposed to like any counterparty risk at all. Because I mean, like the alternative, and for example, like Solana is a great example, because there is no trustless alternative other than us. Like your other alternative is basically go through a centralized exchange and deposit BTC and then like get Solana out, or to go through multiple bridges through Ethereum and then eventually into Solana, which then of course you pay a lot in gas fees on Ethereum for. Real world usage, we've seen like many different use cases, from like people just swapping from Solana to Lightning and then Lightning to Solana back to what it looks like trading. We had some which swapped from Solana to Bitcoin to just buy Ordinal on Bitcoin. Or we had one guy who swapped to Bitcoin to mint an Ordinal collection there. So yeah, there are like many possible use cases and many users who might be interested in like having a trustless alternative to centralized exchanges.
Got it. And do you have any pulse on which one's more popular right now? Because like one thing I'm always curious about is like people talk a lot about stablecoins in Bitcoin land, like get you out of the volatility of Bitcoin, for example. But there's not a lot of stablecoins in the Bitcoin ecosystem. You have to go up to a layer typically. And so I've seen Solana be a good, some Bitcoiners are liking Solana for that reason. Jump over to USDC. This is before all the craziness currently, where it seems like things are going a little wild over there. But like, do you have any pulse on like, are Bitcoiners jumping over and holding into USDC because they like Solana, or are more people on Solana coming over to do degen things on Bitcoin or have price exposure to Bitcoin? Like, any pulse on that?
Also, you mean like directionality of the swaps, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can actually like quickly check that. We have all that in a database, but I need to I need to get it out from there.
Yeah.
So if you can for a moment let Sylvie talk, I will just quickly get you this data.
Yeah, totally. Well, I have more questions, but nothing specific. Just in a second, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about anything we just discussed, Sylvie?
Maybe one more thought from my side in terms of like the target group. I think it's really like DeFi power users, people definitely who know how to navigate this whole world. It's definitely not necessarily newbies for now. I think that could be an interesting stance for the future. Once we bring the UX and the UI really to a level where it's like super easy to use. So far, people who are like familiar with Bitcoin and everything already tell us all the time, "Oh wow, this is so smooth! Like it's amazing what you have built there." And it's quite cool to get this feedback because you're always in the trenches and building and like of course Adam does the heavy lifting because I don't code, but there's also a bunch of stuff to do on the business side. So it's really cool to hear the user feedback and having people coming back to us and tell us, hey, it's really cool what you have built there. Like, I love it.
Yeah. And actually on that topic, because I've gotten in some hot water over the past day about talking about custodial lightning and especially because you have more of a traditional background, not super in the weeds technically, like Adam's going to be the guy who's like, let's build it non-custodially, let's build it trustlessly. But he's the one leaning into the headache, the hard part of banging your head against the wall trying to figure this out, because doing it custodially is much easier. But from your view, when you're thinking about from like a product perspective or like, what to build, how is that kind of dance of like leaning into doing it non-custodial versus custodial, like the benefits and trade-offs to both?
That might be a bit of a, let's say, non-traditional stance, but I believe in the future people won't care, like the mass market user. They won't care about if something is like custodial or non-custodial, in my opinion. I believe that as long as you can offer people a solution that is very easy to access, very easy to use. Let's say, for example, Atomiq would be built into wallets already. So, for example, you can use even right now, you can use Atomiq in your Phantom wallet, for example, because Phantom supports both Bitcoin and Solana. And in that case, I strongly believe that people wouldn't move their like coins outside of their wallet if they have a solution where they can swap within the wallet. So I think in the future it will all be about convenience. Of course, you will always have people who care more about like having a non-custodial solution and really being like the real owner of your coins. My personal stance is that in the future, that's not really interesting anymore to the mass market user because it's basically just something that they don't necessarily see and probably are also not super interested in.
Yep. Yeah. Ideally, it should be totally abstracted away and probably be just because of ease of use. A lot of the users are going to start custodial, and as I was talking with some other people earlier, like what will be great is if a wallet will be like, hey, you have over $500 in your wallet, this is custodial, maybe you want to spin out over to this thing and you can just like push it to Phoenix. I think that's a great middle ground. But yeah, I think that's totally right. Like the user should be using sats as money and the rest is just kind of like frictionless and abstracted away. Adam?
Yeah, if I may add into that, like I think that's a very fair point of like having some amounts like in a custodial way and then like periodically withdrawing them, and I think you can create, you can actually like based on this, you can even create like a solution whereby you just have a lightning channel where you like receive the sats, or like when you DCA into Bitcoin, right? You receive sats there. Once your channel fills up, you just do like a trustless swap to on-chain or to Liquid or wherever, and then you can hold your funds there, which is like even better than like having a custodial and non-custodial. But like again, like there is some additional complexity with that. But I mean, you can do the similar of like having custodial periodically like withdrawing. So
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to have like an exploding balance where like if you don't touch it for a while, it sweeps over to non-custodial, and then if that doesn't move, it sweeps over to like on-chain or something. Like that could be kind of cool as like a fail-safe, because like I have like Moon Wallet, and it's just like I can't remember a thing. I don't know where it's at. I have probably $50 just locked there, and it would be cool if I could just like have a toggle where it's like, yeah, that's gonna sweep into this backup Lightning balance if it sits for too long or something.
Yeah, I mean that is certainly interesting. Like there is, I think I was thinking about this a lot as well, of like how you can try to make like Lightning very user friendly, but like yeah, it all every time it like falls back to like how do you determine which amount of funds are actually not needed for the user to spend right now, which amount you can like offload into on chain. And in best case, do it in such a way that the user doesn't even realize that. So like do it on the background automatically. Like I think if you can solve this, that would be huge.
Yep. Okay. Jumping back into our previous discussion about flows. Yeah. Who's sending what where?
Yeah, so like it's interesting, but actually like a huge majority of the volume is actually going to Bitcoin. So from Solana to Bitcoin, and it's around like 80%. We can also look maybe at like how many of the swaps are actually Lightning and how many are on chain, which I think is actually almost like 50-50.
So 80% are going from Solana to somewhere in Bitcoin, and the only token supported right now is USDC. Or do you guys also support Sol?
Yeah, we also support Sol. Yeah, both.
Okay. And so people are going from either Sol or USDC into 40% Lightning, 40% on-chain, roughly.
Yes, pretty much, yeah.
Interesting.
It's roughly the same. I can even like go as far as tell you like which token is usually swapped.
Interesting. I mean, it's interesting, but I wouldn't say I'm shocked. Like, everyone's coming to Bitcoin right now, so especially before runes. Like, I think I wonder if people are like jumping in, trying to like ride the degen wave of whatever's going to happen in the next 2 weeks when the halving happens and runes happens.
I mean, 10 days, right?
The countdown. We'll see what the miners do. We'll see if we can actually land on 420 and like do it for the meme factor, or if they're gonna mess it up and be too quick and land on the 19th.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Unplug your machines, please, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna have a few questions that kind of they'll be left turns each time, probably. But double clicking on trust assumptions here. Like, is there anywhere in the stack when I'm using this product that I'm trusting someone? Or is there no risk in the sense, like, speaking of Atomiq swaps, like I'll either get the trade or it will fail and get my money back. Like, what's the risk? Where's the trust here?
Yeah, so I mean, as with everything, there is some amount of trust, if not in anything, then in the code you're using. But above that, like Atomiq swaps, for them to work, they require both chains to like be able to confirm transactions, and this is actually an issue we had like recently on Solana with network being so congested that the transactions were not landing. So we are working on like fixing that. But yeah, that's in one way like a way how if I mean, because the whole Atomiq swap constructions, they work in an assumption that you can get your transaction confirmed in some amount of time. That's not happening, then that's an issue. Then the other trust assumptions you have is the Bitcoin Light Client assumption, which is that you trust that there is no big miner just trying to fool our Light Client on Solana or on Ethereum. And well, I mean, the great advantage of this is that like it's very expensive to fool it. So I mean, basically, as a miner, if you do that, you're basically forfeiting your reward that you would get from the block in otherwise, which now is like 6 BTC. So like faking one block will basically cost you 6 BTC in revenue that you could have had. So yeah, if we're looking for 3 or 2 confirmations, which is what we usually use, it would cost an attacker like 18 BTC to like spoof it, and then we're getting into the thing that like, okay, like this is not economical at all. So like this is like a not very economical attack to do on the protocol.
And this attack vector is basically the 51% attack, right? So like the light client's just following Bitcoin Core, and a minor attack in the network would be it's the same attack vector, or is it more nuanced than that?
It's a bit more nuanced, because yes, like the assumption is like, okay, if there is at least one honest relayer, so relayer is actually the party that's submitting the block headers to the Bitcoin Lite client running on Solana, there is like you need 51% of Bitcoin hash rate to basically overrun the honest chain. But in case there is no honest party, which is like also that's probably very unlikely to happen, because the honest party in the end could also be the party doing the swap. So like if you're doing the swap, you can make sure that like you synchronize the Bitcoin Lite client to the block that you see as the highest work, basically, so the longest chain. So yeah, in that case, if there is at least one honest relayer, you need 51% of Bitcoin hash rate. Otherwise, it costs you, as I said, 6 BTC per spoofed block, with no guarantee that there is no relayer who is honest and basically renders all your work useless, because he will just like sync it to the latest main chain header, and then all the money you spend on like mining those fake blocks is basically gone.
Got it. Okay. And then left turn number 1. So supported assets right now. What do you guys have on the network that people can use?
Right now we have Bitcoin, on-chain and Lightning, and Solana, Sol, and USDC. And we're also planning to go live on Ethereum soon.
Okay. So 2 networks currently. I guess 3 networks currently. 2 BTC ones, and then Sol. And it's BTC, Sol, and USDC currently. Yep. And then you said EVM is coming soon. What's the rollout plan there? Like, are you going to start with the same kind of like ETH and stable coins?
Yeah, I guess that, I mean, like, so looking at like the Tor chain, which is like the biggest in Bitcoin and Ethereum cross-chain swaps, like the majority of their volume is basically ETH or stables on ETH. So we'll probably go that way. Yeah, I feel like that there is a lot of volume, a lot of potential that we can tap into. So we will start with that.
And then I think last couple questions. So you said you're launching EVM. You used the word smart chain, which I think is a nice little branding. But yeah, what's on the roadmap for like the next, say, 6 to 12 months? What are you guys cooking, as the kids say?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we certainly want to, like, as we said, deploy on Ethereum and like tap into that huge volume there. And we will see how it goes. Also trying to support some more protocols on the Bitcoin side. So we already know how to, for example, add support for Liquid as well. So if we see like a lot of demand there, we'll certainly be looking more into that. And another thing, yeah, we are like, not we. I am quite a bit of an RGB maxi, which is this off-chain token protocol on top of Bitcoin. So we'll be also looking to add support for that in the future. I mean, they need to release it first, but yeah, well, once that is done, you'll be able to swap between all the RGB shitcoins on Bitcoin to coins on Solana or on Ethereum. So yeah, that's certainly like something that we're looking to have. And then like, not sure if this will be like in 12 months, but we're also looking to enable this cross-chain lending. So lending while using your Bitcoin as a collateral, and your Bitcoin stays on Bitcoin through this discrete lock contracts. because we see a lot of value in that for for people who basically wanna don't wanna pay taxes on their Bitcoin, because if you were to sell your Bitcoin, you need to pay the profit, the realized profit tax. But if you borrow against it, that's not considered a taxable event, so you can actually get dollars out, also with a great advantage of not having to sell your Bitcoin and still being exposed to Bitcoin price rising possibly.
This is not financial advice or tax advice.
Totally. Although I'm definitely, man, it's crazy how many Bitcoins I talk to, and I'm like, so when are you going to realize the benefit of hodling for so long? And they're like, and they just pause. They're like, I'll sell it or I'll do whatever. And I'm like, you probably want to lend against it if it's good collateral, but then you got to go to a custodian, which are like, oh yeah, duh, huh. I'm like, that's why you need DeFi. That's why I need people like trying to figure this stuff out so that we can do it in a less trusted fashion, less counterparty risk. So yeah, hype for that. RGB, hopefully soon. Everyone's been asking that for years, so we'll see when it launches. And then L2s is interesting. You're going to liquid potentially first, I'm assuming, because it's UTXO based, so you can move faster there. You've already built the infra. Any other L2s that are on your kind of short list that you're looking at that aren't UTXO based?
Yeah, I mean, we were also like looking kind of into rootstock, but just like very high level, if that's something we could support as well. The thing is, rootstock already has some like bridges that are, because like it's EVM, so like bridges that have been on Ethereum, they can like easily deploy there. So we'll have to see if there is like a lot of value in us being there. But yeah, that's certainly something that we will be looking into.
One more thing, we also have an SDK of Atomiq, which means we can also implement it into other protocols, for example. And we're in talks with the first ones already, so stay tuned where you might find us in the future.
Huge. No, I love it. That means you can integrate into an application or into a wallet. And I mean, you saw this. One of the big examples of people who haven't seen this is Aqua Wallet leverages bolts in the wallet, and all you do is you're just swapping in and out, and you don't feel the complexity of like L1, L2, and other tokens, which I think is beautiful. I think that's the path that we have to go towards, and ideally the piece in the middle is non-custodial, and as we go longer, that will be more the case, I think. So that's fantastic.
Sounds like music to my ears.
One very interesting thing you can do with an SDK is make actually every Solana wallet a Lightning wallet as well. So you can just make it automatically recognize a Lightning invoice, and then use Atomiq SDK in the background to do trustless swap between Solana and Lightning, and the user doesn't even need to know about it. So you can actually pay with Solana in all the merchants that already accept Lightning. It's actually like a funny thing. This is actually how we demoed the product when we first built it for Solana Hackathon. Went in a subway, which is the sandwich chain in Berlin. They accepted Lightning, and we just went there. Like Sylvie went there, and was able to pay with Solana. And the merchant didn't know that he's being paid in Solana, and he received the Lightning Bitcoin in the end. So
now, and we also often used this use case basically because it's one, if I tell people, oh, we're building a cross-chain interoperability protocol and so on, everyone shuts off and they're just like, wait, what? What? So if you usually like demo a payment and you can like see on the screen that, okay, I paid in Sol and the other person is actually receiving Bitcoin Lightning, this is something very tangible. And it's also like, people understand exactly what we're doing there. But it also had a drawback. A lot of people thought we're only doing Lightning, and a lot of people thought we're only doing payments. Whereas like the trading case is still a much bigger one at this point in time.
Interesting. So because the way Lightning is constructed, you have like, you reveal this thing, there's like a secret, and then that's why there's kind of a pause when it comes to like, say, doing subscriptions on Lightning. Like that hasn't been figured out yet because there's there's a pause in the execution layer. We have to you as a user have to do another action to complete something. And so it sounds like what you're saying is that potentially with something like Solana or a smart contract platform that's listening properly, they can act like that middleware piece that can watch and execute and then do the other half. Do I have that right?
Well, I mean, we'll have to think more about that, but I'm not sure if that would exactly work. Just because, well, yeah, like you said, like in Lightning, you have this secret, so which is like a pre-image for a hash of the invoice, and like having a chain like Solana doesn't help that, because that secret needs to stay secret. And if you have it on chain, like smart contracts, they cannot hold secrets, right? Like that's just not possible. So yeah, actually, like seems like subscriptions will still be something that's not solved. But yeah, I've seen like some actually, like last week I was in Italy for like Lightning Summit, and here was it like. Albi have had this WebLN, right? And now they're working on this Nostr Wallet Connect. So it's like a better way to like connect your wallet to some website. And they also have a way how to do subscriptions. So if you have a custodial wallet, that's easy. So you just authorize like, okay, like every month there can be like 20K sats sent to this party. And for non-custodial wallets, just works in a way that you always like get a notification there, and you can accept it for now. But I can see that also being solved in the future, because you can also probably say to your non-custodial wallet, okay, like I authorize this amount of funds per month to this recipient, and then the recipient basically tries to pull the funds, and your wallet just pays. And I mean, your phone is online most of the time anyway, so that's not a problem. It just like needs to be implemented. But yeah, I see that this could actually work quite fine. I mean, there's a lot of talk of like, oh, Lightning, you have to be online to receive. I mean, like, come on, like you're always online with your phone anyway. Like that's not an issue.
Yep, makes sense. Yeah, people will not leave the house without their phone. It's always, you got LTE, you're good to go. Interesting. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have. So yeah, anything we didn't cover that you guys want to close on?
Good question. I think.
I mean, we could probably go for a lot longer, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, we covered the most important things about Atomiq, about Bitcoin. And yeah, if you'd want to learn more, just head over to like atomic.exchange. We also have like a docs there. So if you really want to dive deep and like see how it works in the background and like to check for yourself that this is really secure, yeah, feel free to. And feel free to follow us on Twitter. We are at Atomiq Labs. So
just one thing, it's not Atomiq with a C in the end, but with a Q, because yeah, you have a high IQ if you're using us.
Love it. Awesome. Well, yeah, this has been an excellent convo. Love what you guys are building. As usual, peeps, I'll have the links down below, make it easy for you to click and check it out. But yeah, thanks for coming on and dropping knowledge, Sylvie and Adam. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for having us, Jake.
thank you.
Thank you for listening this far into the episode. If you found it enjoyable, please do like, subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening on. YouTube does me a huge favor to like and subscribe. Find me on Twitter at Jake Blockchain. Show me some love. I reply to every DM. And if you are a Bitcoin builder that is kind of at the forefront of building new use cases, whether it's L1, Lightning, Stacks, Rootstock, Rollups, Ordinals, BRC20, I want to talk to you. So when I'm not doing this podcast, I am the sourcing partner at the Bitcoin Frontier Fund, where we invest in Bitcoin startups at the earliest stages, give you access to whatever you need, whether it's legal, product, fundraising help, as well as capital. So love to talk to you. You can hit me up. Again, find me on Twitter at Jake Blockchain. and shoot me a DM. I'll read everything. Love to talk to you guys. All right, peace.
It's gone up. We playing the long game to the black rock chains with the racks paid off from the blockchain. Going up high octane, so we up in here like pomade. Making big noise, big money, go play with your kid toys. You funny, I'm counting my Bitcoin. We up and we been gone. It's gone. Planned it out and we did this purposefully. Panning out like the kitchen currently. It's like surgery, way it's earning me a nurse's salary for cryptocurrency. I'm on a vacay drinking coconuts while wearing polka dots. This ain't no hocus pocus, listen up and learn. It's gone up.